Hey, welcome to a new video. The Wilherns are one of the richest and most respected noble families. Everyone in society looks up to them. However, things change when Ralph Wilhern, the family's son, starts an affair with their maid Clara, who becomes pregnant. Ralph wishes to marry her, but his family mocks the idea. They insist he marry someone of their own social status, and he reluctantly agrees to protect the family's reputation. Heartbroken, Clara takes her own life, feeling betrayed. Clara's mother, known as the town's witch, is furious about her daughter's death. One night, she storms onto the Wilhern property and scatters animal entrails across their lawn. With her magical abilities, she casts a spell on the family, cursing the next Wilhern daughter to be born with the face of a pig. She proclaims that the curse will only lift when one of their own kind truly accepts the girl, restoring her real face. For the next 5 generations, every Wilhern bride has only sons. Then, in the 6th generation, Ella and Leonard Wilhern have a daughter, but she doesn't have a pig face. The family rejoices, believing that the witch's curse didn't take effect. However, unknown to them, Ella has been unfaithful to Leonard, making the daughter not a true Wilhern. Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we continue, also like the video. So, the first Wilhern daughter to be born under the curse is Penelope, the child of Jessica and Franklin Wilhern. True to the witch's curse, Penelope is born with the nose and ears of a pig. With the Wilherns being prominent figures, the media eagerly awaits the birth of the child. Jessica, desperate to keep her daughter hidden, even injures a reporter's eye when he catches a glimpse of Penelope. To protect her further, Jessica fakes Penelope's death and pretends to cremate her body to stop others from prying. She vows to keep Penelope hidden until the curse can be lifted. They consider surgery to fix her nose, but it's too risky as a vital artery runs through it, and cutting it could be fatal. Jessica also bans all bacon from the house and forbids any jokes about pigs. Penelope occasionally tries to reach the main gate, but Jessica restricts her movements. Without surgical options, Jessica resolves to break the curse the old-fashioned way. Believing the witch's words, she thinks the curse will lift if Penelope marries someone of their own social class. Ever since Penelope turned 18, her mother Jessica has been trying to find her a husband with the help of a dating agent named Wanda. However, every man introduced to Penelope has fled in terror. Penelope has lived her whole life confined to her home. And to keep her existence a secret, all potential suitors are required to sign a non-disclosure agreement after meeting her. Those who run away in fear are brought back by the family's butler, Jake, to sign the NDA. After 7 years, no suitable match has been found. One day, Edward Humphrey Vanderman III, the son of a wealthy businessman, visits with hopes of dating Penelope. But upon seeing her face, he too runs off in horror. This time, Jake fails to catch him, causing Jessica great distress. Edward, terrified, reports to the police about a demonic girl with fangs trying to attack him. But the police dismiss his claims. To quell the rumors, the Wilherns publish an article labeling Edward as a delusional maniac. The next day, Edward confronts the newspaper, worried about the impact on his father's reputation. At the newspaper office, a journalist named Lemon, who Jessica had previously blinded for glimpsing Penelope, overhears Edward. Lemon, seeking revenge on the Wilherns, and Edward, wanting to restore his reputation, decide to collaborate to reveal Penelope's secret. They plan to send a man in as a suitor to secretly photograph her. The challenge is that Jessica only considers wealthy men, so they can't use money as a bribe. Lemon knows Max, a formerly wealthy elite who squandered his fortune on gambling, who could pose as a rich suitor to capture the image. The next day, Lemon approaches Max, who agrees to take on the task after being paid. They soon arrive at the Wilherns' mansion. Lemon outfits Max with a jacket rigged with a camera that snaps a photo whenever he raises his right arm. Max and the other potential suitors are seated in the mansion's library, which is equipped with a one-way mirror and a microphone, allowing Penelope to see and speak to the men without being seen herself. While adjusting his camera behind a couch, Max misses Penelope entering the room. The sight of her scares the other men away, but Max, having not seen her, remains. Penelope, accustomed to such reactions, is not upset. However, she is shocked to see Max still there when she notices him on the camera. Curious, she speaks to him through the one-way mirror. She watches as he takes a book from the shelf and slips it into his jacket. Startled by her voice, Max hastily replaces the book on the table. When Penelope asks if he saw her face, Max ambiguously replies that he has. They converse for some time, connecting over their chat, though she never reveals her face. Before leaving, Penelope asks Max to return the next day. Wanda and Jessica, who have been eavesdropping, are moved to tears by this turn of events. The next day, Max meets up with Lemon and Edward outside the Wilherns' home and puts on the jacket with the hidden camera again. He heads inside to the library to wait for Penelope. While waiting, he starts to whistle on a toy frog. Penelope hears him and curiously asks if he plays any musical instruments. He responds playfully, asking her to guess. The Wilherns arrange for various musical instruments to be set up in the library, and Max attempts to play them, resulting in both of them laughing at his dreadful musical skills. Finally, as he clumsily plays the piano, Penelope guides him from behind the mirror. Suddenly, Max feels a hand over his and turns to see Penelope's face for the first time. He isn't horrified or repulsed. Instead, he reaches out to touch her face, but accidentally triggers the camera. Upset at the photo being taken, he curses, which Penelope misinterprets as disgust at her appearance. She flees, and although Max tries to stop her, she doesn't listen. Max exits the house, but instead of giving the camera to Lemon, he chooses to respect Penelope's privacy and destroys it. Lemon and Edward, angered by his actions, demand their money back. At that moment, Jessica and Wanda appear, catching Max with Lemon outside. Jessica suspects that Max is a spy, but he still comes back inside. During their conversation, Max realizes that Jessica is specifically looking for someone of their social class, as only such a person can lift the curse. Penelope then appears on the stairs and directly asks Max if he would marry her to break the curse. To her disappointment, Max says no. That night, Penelope decides to leave the house and live on her own terms. She covers half of her face with a scarf and quietly escapes through a window. By the time Jessica discovers her absence, it's already too late. Edward and Lemon, who had been watching the house, also learn that she's run away. Out in the world for the first time, Penelope finally experiences the bustle of a crowd. She takes a long-desired walk in a park and makes a final call to her mother, telling her she won't return home. Afterwards, she checks into a hotel for the night, paying with her mother's credit card. Meanwhile, Lemon and Edward decide to place an ad in the newspaper with a drawing resembling Penelope, offering a $5,000 reward to anyone who can provide a picture of this girl. Realizing she can't use her mother's credit card without being traced, Penelope contacts Lemon. She proposes to sell a photo of herself for the reward money. Surprised by her offer, Lemon and Edward agree. Penelope snaps a picture of herself in a photo booth and delivers it to Lemon. The next day, her picture appears in the newspaper for everyone to see. Following this, Penelope visits a pub where she meets a woman named Annie who quickly becomes her friend. Annie offers her a ride on her bike. Meanwhile, Max, upon seeing Penelope's picture in the newspaper, becomes infuriated with Lemon. When he confronts Lemon, he learns that Penelope herself sold the picture as a statement of her independence. This revelation inspires Max to revisit his own dreams. He decides to reconnect with an old friend and resumes playing piano in a band. Fast forward a few months, Penelope is embracing life to the fullest, enjoying circuses, ice skating, bars, and much more. She sends her parents a postcard each time she experiences something new. One day, while walking through the city, her parents spot her. She tries to escape and dashes into the pub where Annie is. Overwhelmed, Penelope faints, and her scarf falls away, revealing her face to everyone. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself in a hospital bed, surrounded by reporters snapping photos. Suddenly, she becomes the center of attention in town. Contrary to her fears, Penelope is embraced by the public and quickly becomes a local celebrity. For months, her story dominates the newspapers, and she feels no need to hide her face any longer. However, Edward still views her as monstrous. He accidentally shares his true feelings in front of the press, causing a scandal that upsets his father. In an attempt to salvage both his and his father's reputations, Edward proposes to Penelope. After some persuasion from her mother, Penelope reluctantly agrees to the marriage. Meanwhile, Lemon discovers that Max has been arrested for armed robbery and decides to visit him in prison. To his surprise, he finds Max's poker buddy there instead. Lemon soon realizes that he had mistaken Max for the son of a formerly wealthy man, but in reality, he is just an ordinary guy with gambling issues. His real name is revealed to be Johnny Martin, and he had taken the job simply for the money. On the wedding day, Lemon approaches Jessica and Wanda to reveal that it was Edward who had leaked Penelope's picture to the press. They also learn that Johnny declined to marry Penelope because he knew he couldn't lift the curse, not being their kind. Despite this, Jessica still wants Edward to marry Penelope. At the altar, when Penelope is asked if she takes Edward as her husband, she hesitates and ultimately says no. She runs back into the house, with Jessica chasing after her, insisting this was her only chance to lose her ugly face. Penelope firmly tells her mother that she likes herself as she is. Suddenly, Penelope is pushed by an unseen force and falls unconscious. When she wakes, her face has returned to normal. The curse is lifted, revealing that by their own kind meant acceptance by a wealthy aristocrat, including self-acceptance by Penelope herself. If Jessica had taught Penelope that she was beautiful just as she was, the curse could have been broken long ago. The next day, the Wilherns' butler, Jake, steps out of the house with his bags packed. As Jessica shouts for him to return, she suddenly finds herself unable to speak. It's then revealed that Jake is actually the witch who had cursed the family and had been observing their struggles all along. Meanwhile, Penelope leaves the Wilhern home to start a new career as an elementary school horticulture teacher. On one Halloween, she decides to reconnect with Johnny and attends his house party with Annie. She arrives at his door wearing a pig snout mask. As they chat, Johnny realizes it's Penelope and the two share a kiss. Later on, we see Penelope and Johnny sharing their tale with her horticulture class. Lemon is watching them from a rowboat on a nearby lake, intending to snap a photo of the new happy Penelope for a newspaper story. However, seeing her contentment, he decides against it and abandons his plan. He film conveys a powerful message that true beauty lies not in one's facial appearance, but in their kindness. Much like Penelope, many women are made to feel insecure about their distinctive features. However, in truth, everyone is beautiful in their unique way. So that was all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. See you in the next one.